The imperial examination system Kaji was formally instituted during the Sui dynasty 581 to 618 CE and later perfected under the Tang. The Sui ruler Emperor Wen introduced the first standardized tests, while Tang emperors expanded the scope and regularity of the examinations. In 600 CE, Emperor Yang of Sui convened the first truly nationwide examination, allowing candidates from all provinces to compete. This event marked the shift from local ad hoc selections to a centrally organized merit-based recruitment of officials. The examinations were built around the Confucian canon, especially the 4 books and 5 classics, which candidates had to master. Mastery of these texts demonstrated a candidate's moral integrity and suitability for governing according to Confucian ideals. 3 hierarchical levels structured the exams: the county level Sotai, the provincial level Juran, and the palace level Jinshi. Advancement through these tiers mirrored a ladder of increasing scholarly prestige and administrative responsibility. Passing the county exam granted the title Sutai licentiate and permitted the holder to serve in minor local posts. Although modest, this rank provided a foothold in the bureaucracy and exempted the holder from certain taxes. The provincial examination, held every 3 years, awarded the degree of Juran to successful candidates. Juran graduates could be appointed to mid-level positions such as magistrates or teachers in prefectural schools. The highest honor, Jinshi, was conferred after candidates survived the rigorous palace examination conducted in the imperial capital. Jinshi graduates entered the elite civil service and were eligible for senior ministries and advisory roles. Examination papers required essays, poetry, and policy-oriented questions, traditionally written on bamboo slips or paper with brush and ink. This format tested literary talent, analytical ability, and practical governance skills in a single written performance. To ensure fairness, the exams were anonymous. Assessors graded scripts without knowing the author's name or hometown. Identification numbers replaced personal details, reducing nepotism and regional bias in the evaluation process. Candidates were expected to memorize vast passages and offer precise interpretations of Confucian doctrines. Such rote learning demonstrated both dedication to study and alignment with the moral standards expected of officials. The Song Dynasty 960 to 1279 dramatically expanded the examination system, increasing the number of examinees and examination sites. By opening more provincial centers, the Song made the tests accessible to a larger segment of the literate population. During the Song era, the 8-legged essay Takuwen format was introduced as the official composition style. This rigid structure required candidates to follow a prescribed 8-section pattern, emphasizing logical order and stylistic conformity. The 8-legged essay persisted through the Ming and Qing dynasties and was finally abolished in 1905 when the exams were terminated. Reformers argued that the format stifled creativity, and its removal was part of broader modernizing efforts. In the 18th century Qing, the number of examination seats swelled to over 100,000 annually, reflecting the empire's vast bureaucracy. The sheer volume of candidates required elaborate logistics, including multiple examination halls and extensive staffing. Although the exams were theoretically open to all male subjects, wealthier families could afford tutors, books, and travel, giving them an advantage. Economic resources thus created a de facto class of scholar officials, even while the system nominally promoted merit. Examinations were held in large, purpose-built venues called Kurji Quan, often situated in the capital or major prefectural cities. These halls were designed to accommodate thousands of candidates, with rows of individual cubicles for writing. Each examinee worked in a small isolated cubicle sharing to prevent communication and cheating. The cramped spaces, sometimes only a few square feet, ensured that candidates could not see one another's work. A typical palace examination lasted up to 3 consecutive days, during which candidates were forbidden to leave the hall. Strict surveillance and the threat of severe penalties discouraged any attempt to obtain outside assistance. The top-ranking jinshi of each examination session was titled Zhuang Yuan and received special honors and rapid promotion. Zhuang Yuan winners often entered the inner circle of the emperor's advisors and were celebrated in poetry and song. Over more than 1,300 years, the examination system created a largely merit-based bureaucracy that endured through successive dynasties. This continuity helped maintain administrative stability despite frequent changes in ruling families. The exam stimulated literacy across the empire as families invested in education to prepare future candidates. Village schools, private tutors, and community study groups proliferated, raising overall reading and writing rates. Candidates who repeatedly failed the exams could spend a lifetime in poverty as the system offered few alternative career paths. The social stigma of repeated failure often prevented these individuals from securing respectable employment. Major rebellions such as the Anlushan Rebellion 755–763 forced temporary suspension of the examinations for several years. The chaos disrupted travel routes and administrative structures, making it impossible to hold orderly tests. The 100 Days Reform of 1898 attempted to modernize the examinations, but the system was finally abolished in 1905. The abolition paved the way for Western-style schooling and a new civil service examination based on contemporary subjects. Ending the imperial exams was part of a broader shift toward modern education, including the establishment of universities and foreign language curricula. Reformers believed that knowledge of science, law, and technology was essential for a strong modern nation. Examination halls were ingeniously heated in winter with braziers beneath the floors and ventilated in summer through high windows. These architectural features ensured a relatively comfortable environment for candidates during lengthy writing sessions. The term Wen specifically refers to the literary compositions produced for the examinations. Scholars still study these texts today to understand classical rhetoric and the intellectual climate of imperial China. Early examinations required the composition of regulated poetry, li shi, as a core component of the test. Poetic skill demonstrated both cultural refinement and the ability to think creatively within strict formal constraints. Policy-oriented questions known as Qingyi asked candidates to propose solutions to contemporary governance problems. Success in these items showed a candidate's practical understanding of statecraft beyond pure literary ability. Many Zhuangyuan went on to author official histories such as the Ming Shilu and Qing Shilu. Their scholarly training equipped them to compile comprehensive records of imperial reigns for posterity. The Chinese examination model inspired similar merit-based tests in Korea, Gwageo, Japan, Koke, and Vietnam, the Tuin. These neighboring states adapted the system to their own bureaucracies, spreading Confucian educational ideals throughout East Asia. Examinees wore distinctive official robes Quan Pao that indicated their current examination rank and status. The colors and patterns of these garments signaled whether a candidate was a Siu Tai, Zhouren, or Jinxi in training. The essays had to adhere to strict classical Chinese prose conventions, including parallelism and balanced structure. Mastery of these stylistic rules was judged as a sign of refined intellect and proper moral cultivation. While the system did not officially allow hereditary transmission of degrees, many families produced multiple generations of successful candidates. This informal legacy created scholar families that dominated local administrations for centuries. Examination results were categorized into first, second, and third classes, with the first class receiving the most prestigious appointments. The ranking Jia Yiping directly influenced the level of office and salary a graduate could expect. The Kuo Sur Qian, the Imperial Academy, served as a training ground for prospective examinees, offering lectures on the classics. Attendance at the academy was considered essential preparation for those aiming to succeed at the highest levels. The final palace examination was traditionally conducted in the Qinshi Hall within the Imperial Palace. Holding the test in the emperor's own residence underscored the direct link between scholarly merit and imperial favor. The capital's main examination complex, known as the Imperial Examination Hall, Yuan, could house over 10,000 candidates simultaneously. Its massive scale reflected the central government's commitment to a nationwide, standardized recruitment process. Registration fees collected from each candidate provided a modest but steady source of revenue for the state treasury. Though the amount was relatively small, the cumulative income from thousands of applicants contributed to administrative budgets. Candidates were permitted a limited amount of personal food, while the state supplied basic meals to sustain them during the test. This arrangement reduced the risk of bribery through provision of lavish banquets and ensured a level playing field. Examination papers featured red ink headings for titles and black ink for the body text, a convention that persisted for centuries. The color contrast helped graders quickly locate sections and maintain consistency across thousands of scripts. Anti-cheating measures included armed guards, secret watermarks on paper, and random inspections of the cubicles. These safeguards were taken seriously. Caught cheaters faced corporal punishment or permanent disqualification. Calligraphic skill was evaluated alongside content, with neat, balanced strokes earning higher marks. Beautiful writing was seen as a reflection of moral order and discipline training. The minimum age for taking the county-level CU Thai exam was 15, though many candidates waited until their 20s. Early starters could gain a head start in the long career ladder, but maturity was often valued for higher-level tests. Women were categorically excluded from the examination system, though a few exceptional cases, such as Empress Wu Zhetian's promotion of female scholars, occurred. The patriarchal nature of Confucian bureaucracy meant that official positions remained the exclusive domain of men. The civil service exams gave rise to a distinct scholar official class, commonly referred to as the literata, Wernrun. This social stratum wielded cultural authority, shaping art, literature, and political discourse throughout imperial history. Although the exams offered a pathway for social mobility, only a tiny fraction, often less than 1%, of candidates achieved the Jinchi rank. The extreme competition reinforced the prestige of the title while preserving elite control over key offices. The standardized use of classical Chinese in the exams helped unify written language across the empire, influencing later development of Mandarin. By mandating a common literary form, the system facilitated communication among officials from diverse dialect regions. By supplying a steady stream of well-trained officials, the examination system contributed significantly to the political stability of successive dynasties. Competent bureaucrats reduced the likelihood of corrupt governance and helped implement imperial policies effectively. The legacy of the imperial examinations lives on in modern Chinese idioms and expressions, such as "ke chu" being used metaphorically for any rigorous testing. The cultural memory of the exams continues to shape attitudes toward education, merit, and competition in contemporary China.